There are certain films, are there not, that they show every single year on television, normally at Christmas or, bank holidays, and you always sit down, even though you've seen it before, and think that you'll watch it again. There are many. It can be things like, the 633 Squadron, or indeed, the Wizard of Oz, any Bond film. And then there are perennial favourites like this one. It starred a man, really, who was incredibly successful as an actor. I met him very briefly, Peter O'Toole. You see, he started out as a journalist at the Yorkshire Post up in Leeds, alongside another lady who went on to international fame, Barbara Taylor Bradford. That's right, the lady who wrote all of those books and those TV miniseries. Lucky enough to meet her as well. Incredible lady when you think about it, as was Peter O'Toole. In later life, of course, he was, shall we say, known a little bit like Oliver Reed for his rather laid-back approach to acting, and starred very successfully on the London stage towards the end of his life in Geoffrey Bernard is Unwell, and could be found most days in a local public house called the Coach and Horses in Soho. Just a light refreshment, of course. But Peter was dashing, debonair, good-looking, and married to the equally successful actress Sian Phillips. This particular one person that he portrayed on screen that made him an international star. And I wanted to share this particular thing with you because, as I say, when you're wandering around London, you do come across people and places where you think, absolutely fascinating. Did that person live here? Well, if you come round here to Cowley Street in the heart of Westminster, this was the home of the man known as T.E. Lawrence, or to give him his better public title, Lawrence of Arabia. Of course, the film really focused on the fact of his wartime activities. He was an incredible man who lived an incredible life, but sadly left us at a very early age. Now, from this particular period, from 1888 to 1935, this is exactly where Lawrence of Arabia lived. And when you think about that movie and the dashiness of it all in the middle of the deserts and all that sort of stuff, Peter O'Toole looking resplendent in those robes and charging around on horses, it's hard to imagine that he literally just would walk up the street. Now, according to a very good source and people who still actually live here and do remember him being here, they said he was quite a shy man, didn't really mix too much, and wasn't necessarily that bothered about his fame, even though he became famous in the 20s and early 30s, all thanks to what he did. Fascinating to note, isn't it, when you say, or when you think that, as I say, these particular legends just walked around and now we talk about them in such historical terms. As I say, and I know I often say this on the show, a little bit like this channel, it's totally free. So if you fancy having a look at these things and literally educating yourself for nothing, get a flask, get a few biscuits, there's a few benches around the corner and a beautiful garden also. But just think what you can do. You can educate yourself, remind yourself of a movie that you might want to see, and literally look at where legends lived. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.